Right, now what I'd like to show you today is a thing called sex-linked conditions, or just sex-linked. And there are two that are described in your subject assessment guidelines, and they are red-green color blindness and hemophilia. Well, I'm going to start with red-green color blindness. I think that's a good place to start. So before we even begin, we've got to take a look at the gonosomes. So the gonosomes of a male would be an X and a Y, where a female would be an X and an X. Now let's take a look at the actual chromosomes of a male. Maybe this is in prophase 1 of meiosis. The chromosomes would look something like this. There's a chromosome. Remember, each chromosome is made up of two identical DNA strands. We call those chromatids. The homologous partner chromosome for the X on the male is a Y chromosome. Now, Y chromosome is a tiny little chromosome. It's really much, much smaller than an X chromosome. The female just has two X chromosomes, so she looks quite simple in that regard. Now, the Y chromosome of the male is peculiar because although it carries many other genes for all sorts of characteristics, not just whether it'll be a male or female. So in effect, there's a whole bunch of information that's, let's put that in brackets, missing. Now what do I mean by missing? Well, if we take the X chromosome, at a particular locus on the X chromosome, there might be a particular gene, a particular allele. Let's just give it the capital letter A. So whatever's there will be there because they're identical, A and A. And let's go to the female. She may have an A there, capital A, and a capital A. And then over here, at exactly the same locus, she might have a lowercase a. So in other words, she is going to be heterozygous. So she's going to be capital A, small a. For whatever that condition is, she will be heterozygous. The male, on the other hand, if we look at his genotype, he'll only have an A and then nothing over there. There is no homologous partner. Parents, P1 generation, and in the P1 generation, we're going to write the male, and we're going to write the female. And what I would like to do is to say that red-green color blindness is a particular condition, but it's not the normal condition. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the letter N for normal. And that means the lowercase n would be, and I'm just going to abbreviate this, red-green color blindness. So the normal condition, because it gets capital N for the N for normal, and then the red-green color blindness, which was recessive, very important to understand that, it's recessive, and therefore we give it the lowercase of the N. Now, it's very handy to use N here. Don't get sucked into using C for color. I always just say the normal condition, give it a capital N. And that means whatever the recessive is, it's going to be a lowercase n, which is fantastic because the n's look different. Now, I'm going to, in this situation, let's take a look at the male. Now, just like we did in sex determination, we have to write the gonosomes in the box. So we're going to write the gonosome X and the gonosome Y. And so now, going back to the female, of course, she will be X and X. Now, I'm going to, just for this illustration, show you how a female who's carrying the gene but has normal vision can influence the condition of her offspring. Let's take a look at it. So what we do, and this is very important, we take this normal condition on the male and we give it a superscript N over there. So it's superscript to the X. On the Y, we don't write anything. There's a dash. Let me just represent it by a dash. In other words, there's no gene there at all. If we take a look at this, inside here, there are no gene equivalents to mask or to pair up with the genes that are present on the X chromosome. On the female, if she has normal vision, she has to have a capital N. But I'm going to now do something interesting. I'm going to make her a carrier, so it's a lowercase n over there. And now that makes everything quite interesting. So here we have a male with normal vision and a female with normal vision, but she's a carrier of this red-green colorblind condition. So let's take a look at the gametes for that. And again, we should write here meiosis and gametes. And the gametes for this one, I'm going to write it nice and big if I can. Nice and big. Inside here, we write X and Y. X and X. And now let's put those alleles in. On the male, in this particular gamete, there's to be a capital N. On this particular gamete, there is no gene there at all. On the female, she has a capital N superscript, and on this one, she has a lowercase n. Coming down to the F1 generation. Let's draw. Right, let's put her gametes on the top. So it'll be X, and he will be X and Y. Inserting those alleles, she would be capital N and a lowercase n. That's this one over here. For him, he would be a capital N, and there's nothing over there. Let's now do the crosses. It's quite simple. Sex determination. Now let's put in the alleles. That'll be a capital N and a capital N. So we have a female with normal color vision or normal vision, and she has two dominant genes for normal vision. And on this case, on this side over here, where we take the capital N, there's the normal vision, but have a look here. This female over here is carrying the recessive gene. Although she has normal vision, she's a carrier of the recessive gene. Exactly the same, in fact, both being carriers. Let's look at the boys. We'll have to take an N over there, there's nothing over there, and an N over there, and nothing over there. Now, this particular son, he will have normal vision. This particular son will be red-green colorblind. So now, to write out the genotype and the phenotype of these, let's do it. The genotype would be, now we have to write out all of those genotypes. Every single one is different, so we literally need a row of all those genotypes. And it looks like this. Now you can see, again, there's the male that is red-green colorblind. Let's write out the phenotype. The phenotype would be, and now it becomes interesting, there'd be two females. I'm just going to abbreviate with a symbol like that. Two females with normal vision is to a male with normal vision is to a male that is red-green colorblind. Just to summarize, it is the female that's the carrier of this gene in this particular situation. So she is passing it on to her daughter, 50% chance of passing it on to her daughter, or a 50% chance of not passing it on to her daughter, and there's a 50% chance that she'll pass it on to one of her sons. So if this couple get married and they have children, any son that they have would have a 50% chance of being colorblind. Because in this particular situation, there's no gene over there to mask the other gene. So where the female would have a big N to mask this recessive gene, males don't have the position on the Y chromosome that can mask the recessive gene. So this is why we see a much higher percentage of people that are red-green colorblind being males, and very few females are red-green colorblind. But that is something worth looking at. So we've got to consider, what would it look like if a male was colorblind and he married a female whose father was colorblind? And that is a solution we need to look at.